the Washington Capitals. Barely made the playoffs in 24. Last season, 51, 22, and 9, 111 points. First in the Metro, first in the East, and second only to Winnipeg in the race for the President's Trophy. They defeated Montreal in the first round of the playoffs in 5 games. It was their first series win since winning the Cup back in 2018. And then they fell to the Carolina Hurricanes in round 2. Generally speaking, very quiet, no true notable additions in terms of their RFA, UFA re-signs. They did re-sign Anthony Beauvillier, 2 years, 2.75 AAV, and restricted free agent Blais LaPierre. In terms of the drops, Andrew Mangiapane, left winger, signs with Edmonton. Taylor Raddysh, right wing, signs with the New York Rangers. Lars Eller, big part of that Stanley Cup winning championship team in 2018. He signs as a UFA with the Ottawa Senators. And Alexeyev signs as a UFA with the Pittsburgh Penguins. A couple of other notes here. TJ Oshie announced his retirement on June 9th. And Nick Backstrom, who I thought, and I think we both thought, was through due to the back injury that had kept him out all of last season. He's returning home to play in the Swedish League, and that was announced at the end of July.
Yeah, that is surprising because I was surprised by both Oshie and Backstrom. I didn't know that TJ Oshie was that close to retiring. And I did think that Backstrom was on the verge of retiring. He goes back to play in Sweden in the Elite League and back there. And TJ Oshie hangs it up and he'll probably end up announcing or broadcasting or scouting or something. Who knows?
One other note I want to point out here, defenseman Martin Fehérváry extended with the Capitals 7 years, $6 million AV. That is effective next season. So the Capitals get him tied up long term. So let's get into a little bit of discussion here. And one of the things that I'm a little bit wary of, despite the fact that Spencer Carbery, entering his 3rd season, won the Jack Adams last year, and the Capitals had 8 players last year that in some way, shape, or form had career numbers. Dylan Strom, Alexi Protas, Tom Wilson, and Connor McMichael all set marks for goals, assists, and points in a season. Pierre-Luc Dubois, career highs in assists and points. Jacob Chychrun, career highs in goals and points. Nick Dowd, goals and points as well. And Logan Thompson, the goaltender, 31 wins and a career best 2.49 goals against average. So where I want to start this is you can see how many things went right for the Capitals a year ago. And to expect a repeat here, that's a pretty daunting task.
It really is. And there's a number of question marks on this Capitals team because this is not a real young team. This is a team that's getting a little bit long in the tooth. You start with Ovechkin and you talk about, can he keep up what he did last year? Hard to believe that he can keep going like the ever-ready bunny that he is, but who knows? You can't count him out. Dylan Strom having a great year. Your favorite guy, Pierre-Luc Dubois, who fit right into the Washington Capitals and had a fabulous year. Tom Wilson, even Anthony Beauvillier has never played well. I mean, to be able to maintain a residence anywhere, but seems to have found one in Washington. How good is Ryan Leonard going to be? Is he going to improve his game? He was a rookie out of college, as we all know. Jacob Chychrun played like a Norris Trophy candidate last season. John Carlson's getting older. Is he going to be able to keep up the offensive and defensive game that he's had? And as you said, with Fehérváry, they gave him a long contract. Is he going to continue his upward trajectory as a player, getting better and better?
You mentioned Ovi, who we did not speak about in that group of 8 players before. Past Wayne Gretzky, you were there to see it live, UBS Arena last season. 897 career goals, so easily going to eclipse the 900 mark in the first couple of weeks of the season. But as the year went on and the record and the chase became so front and center to the Capitals' existence. They finished the season 4-7-1 in their last 12. And when they went into the playoffs against Montreal, we thought, you know what, this is probably going to be the right kind of opponent for them to get their game back on track, because you could see their game slipping over the last quarter of the season. And a lot of that was due to the OV chase and all the attention that was being garnered by it. But when to that second round against Carolina, they looked 2 steps slower and they looked totally out of their league. They looked like the club that got swept by the Rangers in 24.
And I'd like to talk to Spencer Carbery at some point. We'll get him on here, I hope, and ask him, because my theory on the Washington Capitals is exactly what you said, is that they didn't think about the chase in the first 2/3 of the season. And then suddenly, when it was in front of their face every day in the media and everybody talking about Ovi, and it's going to pass Gretzky, when will it happen? Where will it happen? The first half of the season is, will it happen? Then it became obvious that it will happen. I just think that took their focus off of their team game, and I don't think they ever got it back. I think that Montreal was an unexpected opponent in the playoffs. No one really expected Montreal to make it. So when they made it, that was basically their banner-raising season. They made the playoffs last year, and Washington was able to handle them, not easily, but they handled them. But then they couldn't keep up with Carolina at all. And I think their game fell off in that last third of the season.
There'll be no distraction this year. I think a complete focus on building what they had grown into, and that was the Eastern Conference regular season champions last year. But again, is this a club that we should expect upward trajectory based on their age, based on the fact of how many career years players had last year, and just, is this sustainable? And I think that this is where Carbery is really going to be put to the test.
And I think Spencer Carbery's a really good coach. Obviously, he won the Jack Adams last year. And so to say he's a really good coach takes a lot of intelligence, but can he do it again? Can he keep his team going in that movement? My expectation for the Washington Capitals, I'm going to put it right out there, not my prediction, but my expectation is they're going to take a step backwards for all the reasons and question marks we just talked about. I think they're going to take a step back. Does that mean they won't make the playoffs? No, that doesn't mean they're not going to make the playoffs, but they're not going to be in the running for the President's Trophy all year long until the very end when Winnipeg solidified it. I think they're going to be back further in the pack when this season is done.
And certainly they're not going to be taking anybody by surprise this year. That's another thing, is that when teams play them, Caps are going to have the target on their back.
They are. And teams are going to expect to see Jacob Chychrun and Ovechkin. They've been waiting for him for 21 years every night that they have to play the Capitals. So that's not going to be anything different. Tom Wilson carries the team on his back some nights. I think this team took over the personality of the Wilson team, much the way Florida has the Tkachuk personality now, the Panthers. I think the Caps have the bit of the Wilson personality. So we'll see. Are they going to fight through like they did to prove themselves last year? I expect, for all the reasons we said, that they're not going to be quite as good as they were in 24-25.
But at least no OV distraction this time around.